Okay, let's go ahead and get started. This is matrix multiplication. Remember, with multiplication, you need to figure out the dimension before you start working on it, meaning that you got to figure out if it works, if it can work, and then you got to figure out the answer, what the dimension is. So if it doesn't work, then you just write down that it's undefined, like how the direction says, write undefined if it does not work. Okay, so number one, we got a 2 by 2. Okay, I'll only do this once in this video, but 2 mean 2 rows. So 2 rows going across. By 2 means 2 columns. So 2 rows and 2 columns. So this is what we call a 2 by 2, a 2 row by 2 column. Okay, so this is a 2 by 2, and we write it like this. And this is also a 2 row by 2 column. And the way you determine if they are compatible or you can do the multiplication is just check the inside numbers. And if the inside number, the inside dimensions, if they match, yes, they match, then you can go ahead and say, okay, your answer is going to be the outside dimension, okay, which is going to be a 2 by 2 also. So your answer is going to be a 2 by 2, which is going to end up being 2 rows and 2 columns. So it's going to look just like how these are. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay, here, I'm going to get rid of all this distraction. All right, so meaning 2 rows and 2 columns, meaning that you will have 4 entries in here. Okay, this first spot is first row, a first row here, and first column here. Sorry, let me do this again. So this first spot is the first row, and it is the first column. So when we do that, we will be using, so this first matrix, we will only be using rows. So this is the first row. And the second matrix, we will only be using the column. So this is the first column. Well, then you just do the math. So you're going to go and do 0 times 6, and you could write on the side. So 0 times 6 is 0, and you always do plus in between. You always add the pairs together. Then 2 times 3 is going to be 6. So 0 plus 6, and your answer is going to be 6. You're going to put it right there. Okay, so you move on to this spot right here. This is the first row and second column. So meaning I'm going to use the first row, and I'm going to use the second column. You're going to do the math again. You're going to go 0 times negative 6 is 0, and you always add. 2 times 0 is also 0, so your answer is 0. All right? If you want this spot right here, that's the second row, so that means that we have to switch this to second row, and we want the first column, so that means that we have to switch this to first column. So second row, first column. That gives us negative 2 times 6 is negative 12, plus negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Right, so negative 12 and negative 15 makes negative 27. Okay, and that's that entry. Right, if we want the next one, we want that entry, then we would have to do the second row, which is weird there, but we have to do the second column also, which means here's the second column. Second row, second column. Okay, so negative 2 and negative 6 is positive 12 plus negative 5 plus times 0 is 0. So our answer is just 12. Right, so this is our answer. 6, 0 going across, negative 27 and 12. All right, that's the gist of it. That's the basic idea behind doing multiplication of matrices. Okay, so we'll be going a little faster this time because I am going to take it that you already know all these procedures and steps and methods, and we're just going to go ahead and be looking for the answer. Okay, I'll be talking a little bit in between, but mostly just answers. So this is a 2 by 1 matrix, and this is a 1 by 2. So that means that we will be able to do this, and our answer is going to come out to be outside is going to be 2 by 2 matrix. So our answer is going to end up being a 2 by 2 matrix. So it's going to end up looking just like the last one, like number 1. So it's going to have 4 entries in there. First entry is going to be the first row and first column. Okay, so first row is 6, first column is -5. You multiply them, you get -30. And that's the only thing that you have in there. Okay. If you want to do the next one, which is this spot right here. Okay. This spot right here, this is going to be the first row, second column. So I'm going to do the first row, which is still 6. Second column is 4. So first row, second column, 6 times 4 is 24. Can I just go with that? If I want this spot right here, where you see my little cursor is, then that means that it's going to be the second row. Oops. It's going to be the second row, but it's going to be the first column. So second row times first column, and there's only 1 entry in there. That's why these inside numbers are ones, because there's only 1 entries or 1 multiplication you have to do. That's going to give you 15. And the last one, second row, second column, that's going to give you an entry of -12. Okay. This one was a little straightforward because there wasn't that much math to do. Number 3, 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. You will end up with a 2 by 2, just like number 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do rows first time around, first in the first matrix, and you're going to do columns the second matrix. And that's the only way it's going to go. First matrix is always rows, second matrix is always columns. So first entry right here, -5 times -2 is 10, plus -5 times 3 is -15. If I add them, I'll get -5 for this spot, for that entry. Okay. If I want this entry right here, it's going to be first row, second column. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. This is going to give me -5 and -3. So it's going to give me 15 plus, and -5 times +5 is -25. Okay. And that makes -10. Okay. Next one down below. If I want this spot right here, you can see where my pen is. That's going to be involving second row, but first column in this spot right here. Second row, first column is going to give me, let's see, -1 times -2 is 2, plus 2 times 3 is 6. So total is going to be 8. And if we want this last spot right here, this is going to be second row, second column. So we got second row already, but we just need to use the second column. So -1 times -3 is 3, plus 2 times 5 is 10. So the answer is 13. Okay. Same thing again. Right, 2 by 2 and multiply to a 2 by 2, that's going to get you another 2 by 2, just like how we had with number 1 and number 3. Okay, so your answer is also going to be a 2 by 2, meaning 4 entries, just like how we worked the last one. So this first spot right here, this is going to be -3 times 6 is -18, plus, and the 5 times 1 is 5. So the total is going to be -13. Okay, if I want the second spot here, this is going to be first row and second column. So you're going to do the math. -3 and -2 is going to be 6, plus 5 and -5 is -25. So your answer is going to be -19 in this spot. Okay. I want this spot down here, which is in the second row. So I'm going to move to the second row. And it's in the first column. So I'm going to move to the first column. I'm going to be utilizing the numbers of -2 times 6 is -12. And 1 times 1 is 1. So my total is going to be -11. Okay. And if I want this last spot right here, this spot is right here. It's going to be second row going across and second column going up and down. So second row, which is going across, second column up and down. -2 times -2 is 4, plus 1 times -5 is -5. Answer is -1. That's your total. Okay, this next one down here, this one's a little different because it's different dimension now. So I'm gonna go ahead and work it out just so you guys can see what I would do. All right, so this one is a three rows by 2 column, and the second one is a 2 row by 2 column. So your answer is gonna come out to be a 3 by 2. Okay, meaning it's gonna be tall. It's gonna be taller than it is wide. So it's gonna look like the first one. Okay, so 3 by 2 and a 2 by 2, these match on the inside, so that means your answer is going to be a 3 by 2, which is the outside numbers. So the answer is going to be a 3 by 2. Okay, so that's how it's going to look. 3 by 2 has 6 numbers. That's a 6 pack right there, right? Um, so okay, so again, in the first column or in the first matrix, you're only using the rows. In the second column or in the second matrix, you're only using the columns, like that. Okay, so if I want that spot, I would be using the first row, first column. So 0 times -4 is 0, plus 5 times -2 is -10. So if I add them, I get -10. Okay, if I want this spot right here, that would mean that I would need this second column. Still first row. So that would be 0 times 4 is 0, and 5 times -4 is going to be -20. So answer is -20. All right, if I want this spot right here, which is second row, so I need the first column, so I would utilize that. That's going to give me -3 and -4 is 12, plus 1 times -2 is -2. Answer is going to give you 10. If I want this spot right here, which is going to be second row but second column, so I just need to move that over and do the math again. -3 and 4 is -12, plus 1 and -4 is going to be -4. So answer is going to be -16. Okay, if I want this bottom right here, this is going to be the third row, which means I need to switch to the third row. And I need the first column, which means I need first column. So -5, -4 is 20, plus 1 and -2 is going to be -2. So answer is going to be 18. Okay. I want this spot right here. This is the third row, and this is going to be the second column. So this would give me 5 times -5 times 4 is -20, plus 1 times -4 is -4. So total answer is -24. Okay. Okay. So let's try this again. This is a 2 by 3, and this is a 3 by 2. Right? And if you put them together, you can do the work, right? And you will get a 2 by 2. So your answer is going to be a 2 by 2, which is just a nice little square matrix. Okay, square just means that it's as wide as it is high. So if I want that first spot, okay, right here, okay, that's gonna be the first row. So I'm gonna utilize the first row, and I'm gonna utilize the first column. So first row, first column, first row, first column. So I got 5 times -4, -20, and we're doing three multiplication problem. Because remember, the inside dimension tells you how many multiplications are you doing. So 5 times -4, 3 times -3, and 5 times 3. You're going to add those together. Let's see. -20 and 15 is -5. -5, and then plus 9 is -14. Okay. You can always use a calculator. And I could be wrong sometimes. So just don't take my word for it. Double check it. I'm just kind of taking you through the process. Okay, if you want the next one, you want this one right here, which is going to be first row but second column. So you're going to utilize these numbers. We will have 5 times 10, or 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 times 4 is 12, plus 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Right, so if you add them together, this is positive 22, and that's a negative 25. So that's going to end up being a negative 3 as the winner. Okay. And my last two numbers, if I want this spot down here, I would need the second row, but I would need the first column instead. Okay, so second row, and I would need the first column. So the numbers are as follows, right? 1 times negative 4 is negative 4, plus 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, plus 0 times 3 is 0. So my total is going to be negative 19. Okay, and lastly, if I want this spot right here, okay, on this spot, I'm going to have to go and do first or second row and second. So second row, and I also need second column. Okay, and do the math. So 1 times 2 is 2, plus 5 times 4 is 20, plus 0 times negative 5 is 0. So my total is 22. Okay, that's number 6. Okay, this one is a 3 by 1, and this is a 1 by 2. So your answer is going to end up being a 3 by 2. Crazy, huh? So my answer is going to end up being a 3 by 2. But luckily, we only have to do one multiplication problem each time because the inside dimensions match. So that means we can do it. Okay, so 3 by 2. 3 by 2 looks like tall and somewhat skinny, right? It does have some girth to it, but it's not going to be very thin like the first one. It has another column. Right, so 3 by 2 is going to have 6 items. So if I want a first column, the first row along with the first column, okay, then that means that I'm doing the first row along with the first column. Excuse me. Right? So that's going to give me an answer of 5 times 3. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. And since I'm only doing one multiplication problem, I'm not even going to write down the stuff on the side. Right? If I need the next, that one, it's going to be using negative 5 and negative 1. That's going to give me 5 for that. Okay, if I need the next one down, okay, that means I need this one. I need to utilize 6, and I need to utilize the 3. So that's going to give me 18. And if I want to do the next column over, it's going to be negative 6. I want this item here. This is going to be the third row, first column. So it's going to be third row and first column. So 0 times 3, maybe 0. You're also going to do the next entry over here, which is 0 times negative 1, which is still a 0. That's your answer. Okay, this one is a 2 rows by 3, and this is also a 2 rows by 3. Oh, I was getting tired, guys, but look, you look here, these inside dimensions do not match. Okay, so this one, the answer is undefined, meaning you don't have to do it. You can't do it. Even if you wanted to, you can't do it. Right? Let's go backside. This is a 3 by 2, and this is a 2 by 2, and the insides match, and the outside is going to give you a dimension of their answer, which is going to be a 3 by 2. So it's going to look like the first matrix with 6 entries in there. Again, you need that first, and you need the first. So rows by columns. So rows goes across, columns go up and down. Okay, so 3 times -1, -3, plus -1 times 5, -5. Total, -8. Which means I do this next one. Again, 3 times 6, 18, plus -1 times 4, -4. Total, 14. Okay, if I want the next one down, this entry here, we row 2, column 1. This will be -3 times 1, or -3 times -1 is positive 3. 6 times 5 is 30. Total, 33. With this entry, it's going to be second row, second column. -3 times 6, -18, plus 6 times 4, 24. Total is going to give you 6. Okay. This last one down here. So third row, first column. So third row. So here's row 3 and first column. So do the math again. -6, -1 is 6. Plus -6 and 5 is -30. Total is -24. Last entry down here. Second row. Sorry, third row, second column. So -6 and positive 6 is -36, plus -6 and 4 is -24. Total 56, -60. Okay, number 10. This is a 2 by 2, and this is a 2 by 1. So my answer is going to be a 2 by 1, right? Because it's a 2 by 1. My answer should be the outside numbers. So that's going to be, it's going to look like the last one. So it's going to look, tall and skinny. Not super tall, but just decently tall. Okay. And 2 by 1 means it only has 2 entries, right? So first one, which is the first row, and the first column. And there's only one column. So yes. All right. So 5 times -4 is -20, plus 4 times 3 is 12. Your answer is -8. Yeah, just -8. Okay, and if I need the next one, which is still the only row, the only column, but we have the second row, so we're gonna have to go here. And we've got 2 times -4 is -8, plus -1 times 3 is -3. So we get total of -11. Okay, that's number 10. Number 11. Let's look. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4 by 3. And this is a 3 by 2. So your answer is going to end up being a 4 by 2. And you can do the math because the inside dimensions give you 3 and 3. So it's going to be a 4 by 2 when you're done. And 4 by 2 is kind of like a mix of both of these. So 4 by 2 means that it's tall as the first one, but it's skinny just like the second one. So 4 by 2 means that there's going to be 8 entries. Okay, like that. Okay. So the first entry is going to start with the first row. The second entry then start with, or not the second. The first column is going to be right there. Okay, so let's do the math. So -1 times 6 is -6, plus 1 times 5 is 5, plus -1 times 6 is -6. Do the math. -12 and 5 right? You can say, or you get a -1 between -6 and 5, and then you get another -6. So total is -7. Okay, if you want this next one, then that means you just move this over. You do the same thing again. -1 and 5 is -5 plus 1 and -6 is -6 plus -1 and 0 is 0. So total is -11. Okay, if you want the next one down, so it'll be next one down and back to the first column. Okay, yeah, 5 and 6 is 30 plus 2 and 5 is 10. -5 and 6 is gonna be -30. Right, so your total is gonna be just 10. Okay, if I need this next spot right here, then I will move to the second column. Okay, do the math again. 5 and 5, 25. 2 and -6, -12. 5 and 0 is 0. So 25 minus 12, right? That's going to give you 13. Okay. So the next one, third row down, first column. So third row, first column. 6 times 6, 36. -5 times 5, -25. 1 times 6 is 6. So -36 and -25 gets you 11. Yeah, 11 and the plus 6 is 17. Okay, you want the next one, next entry, just move the column over to column 2, so you have to work on column 2. So 6 and 5 is 30. -5 and -6 is also 30. 1 and 0 is 0, so total is going to be 60. Okay, almost done. You want this last entry, that's the fourth row and first column, so we're going to use these two. Fourth row, first column. -5 and 6 is -30. 6 and 5 is positive 30. That's good news because they will cancel. 0 and 6 is going to be 0. So total is going to be 0. Okay, and the last one, fourth row, second column. So fourth row and second column. That's going to be -5 and 5 is -25. 6 and -6 is -36. 0 and 0 is 0. So total is going to be what? 50, 61, -61. That one took a good chunk of time. All right, so let's check the dimension. This is a 4 by 2, and this is a 2 by 3. So you will get a 4 by 3, and the insides match. So that means you can actually do the work. 4 by 3. This one is going to be big. Okay. Luckily, we only have to do 2 multiplication problems. So it's going to be a 4 by 3 matrix. So this one's going to be actually the biggest one we've worked with. 4 by 3 means it's pretty tall. As tall as the first one. But 3 means it's going to be as wide as the second one. So that's going to have 12 entries. This is a lot. Okay. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put these 12 entries in just to help me. So 4 rows, and then 3. Okay. Okay. Put it all together. Yeah, and I'll remove them at the end. Okay. So first row, first column. Okay. So we're using columns on the second matrix. We're using rows on this first matrix. You can see that the math is going to be pretty straightforward, pretty fast. Okay, so we got -2 and 2 is -4 plus -6 and -2 is 12, actually. So this will give us 8. Okay. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna get rid of these arrows just so that it makes it a little faster for me. Okay, so next one, I'm just gonna do the next entry over. So it's the same row, but I just move it over. So negative 2 and 2 is 4 plus, and negative 6 and 0 is 0. So the answer is just 4. Next one, negative 2 and 2 is negative 4 plus, negative 6 and negative 3 is negative, or is actually positive 18. So total is going to be 14. Okay. Now I'm moving to the middle, the second row. So I'm going to be using second row. And again, just go through it. Negative 4 and 2 is negative 8 plus 3 and negative 2 is negative 6. So total is going to be negative 14. Move it over. Negative 4 and negative 2 is 8 plus 3 and 0 is 0. So my answer is 8. Move it over. Negative 4 and 2 is negative 8 plus 3 and negative 3 is negative 9. So my answer is going to be negative 17. Okay. I need to go to the third row. So third row, and I need to start back at the first column. Okay. So 5 and 2 is 10. 0 and negative 2 is 0. So my answer is 10 for this row. 5 and negative 2 is negative 10 plus 0 and 0 is 0. So my answer is negative 10 for this next entry. And move this over. 5 and 2 is 10 plus 0 and negative 3 is 0. So my answer is 10 for this entry. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and go to this third or fourth row and back to the first column. 4 and 2 is 8 plus negative 6 and negative 2 is 12. So my answer is 20. Move to the next column. Still the fourth row. So 4 and negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 6 and 0 is 0. So my answer is negative 8. And last column, 4 and 2 is 8 plus, and negative 6 and negative 3 is actually 18. So my answer is going to be 26. Okay. And these are my answers right there in case you need it. Okay. All right. So hopefully these are fast. This is a 1 by 2 and 2 by 2. So you will get a 1 by 2 as an answer. So it's going to look like the first one. So I need rows and I need columns. So rows and I need columns. So first entry.
I heard there were some people from engineering or something like that.
Yeah, they left already. Yeah, they were doing some presentations.
Okay, I just wanted to talk to see if I can figure out something. Do you know what it might be? Or?
No, they're not here anymore. Come talk to me tomorrow though.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
I might have their information.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
So this one's gonna be 2 times negative 5u. That's gonna be, and there's only one math that you have to do here. So, or actually two. So 2 times negative 5u is negative 10u plus, and then negative 5v times 0 is 0. So that's negative 10u. Okay. Next one, right here.
I'll get the higher grade.
Yeah, always. 2 times negative v is going to be negative 2v plus, and then negative 5v times 6 is negative 30v. And because they're both v, you can actually add them together. Okay, so it would be negative 32v. Okay, that's your answer. Okay. Next one. 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2, you're going to get a 2 by 2. That's pretty straightforward. The insides matches, the outsides also matches. So, right, so that means that we're doing rows first, columns next. Okay, 2 by 2 means there's 4 entries. So this first entry, -4 and -4x is 16x plus -y, and 2y is a negative 2y squared. So that's all you got is 16x minus 2y squared. Okay. Okay, next one. You got -4 times 0 is a 0 plus -y times -5 is a positive 5y. So this whole entry is just 5y. Much better than that first one. Okay, the next one down, -2x and -4, and then you're also going to go pair that along with the -4x and then the 2y. All right, so you got -2x and -4x makes positive 8. Oops. Positive 8x squared. -4 and 2y is a -8 y. So that you can't do anything there. So the best you can do is call it 8x squared minus 8y. And lastly, you've got -2x and 0. That makes 0. And -4 and -5 is positive 20. So this entry is just 20. Okay. Write an example of matrix multiplication that is undefined. And you saw one earlier. Just got to make sure that they don't work out. So an example would be, let's call it a 2 by 1, right? So let's go 2 and 0 multiply by, and let's do another 2 by 1, right? 5 and -1, and that's undefined because this is a 2 by 1 and this is also a 2 by 1, which if you look at the inside dimensions, they don't match. So this is equal to undefined. Okay. In the expression AB, if A is a 3 by 5 matrix, what could be the dimension of B? Right. So if A is 3 by 5, right, so 3 by 5, B could be a 5 by whatever. Okay, 5 by anything you want. Okay. So you want to say the dimension of B could be a 5 by 5 by anything.
Good afternoon, students. Make sure to pick up your delicious snack at the second lunch window.
That's the end of the period, guys.
For a Clinical Club,
Key thing is that to have it as a 5 by
for
something.
today.
Okay.
The weight room.
All
The
right.
weight room is open
See you
for
tomorrow.
us